Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me will be Hector and Jules. What's going on, guys?
How's everything?
Good, good. I'm making sure this is streaming live because it is showing black. So, that's a little strange. Technical difficulties here. 1 second. Okay, I guess we are streaming. Never mind, we're good. Alright, this weekend we have one of maybe the best fighters in boxing right now, Vasyl Lomachenko, taking on Jason Sosa. That fight we're going to get to a little bit later. First off, though, I think we can all take a big sigh of relief and know the fact that we are going to see Sergey Kovalev get another shot at Andre Ward. Guys, does this surprise you that the fight actually got made? Because I know myself, I was thinking Andre Ward was really serious about retirement.
I think. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, to be honest with you, I wasn't surprised at all. I think that Andre Ward, as I said last time when we were talking about he may retire, I said I don't think he would. No matter what he talks about, business and how the contracts have to be right. Deep down inside, he's a fighter. And, I'm sure he's not the only one who heard that people don't think that he won the fight. And I think he feels like he has a lot to prove. So I'm not surprised. I'm glad it went through. And I think that also Andre Ward knew that, the only financial option that he had besides Kovalev was maybe Triple G. And we know that fight's not coming anytime soon. So he might as well go for Kovalev. So I'm not surprised, and I'm glad it's getting done. Go ahead, Hector. I'm sorry about that.
You're fine. I'm not surprised that the fight's happening again. I was surprised when Ward was talking about retiring because, I remember for the fight with Kovalev, there was talks of Ward, fighting this fight, and even since he had this break, taking his career, to other weights beyond light heavyweight. You heard Virgil Hunter talk about, he could see him eventually going to heavyweight later on, and to me it seemed strange that after this fight, that he would talk about retiring. And he knows it was a really close fight and it was competitive. And a lot of people feel that Kovalev won, me included. This fight just had to happen. I think Ward at this point is trying to renegotiate and get more money, which is. I mean, he should, but I'm not surprised that it's happening again. What is it? June 16th? Is that what they talking?
17th, yeah, June 17th. I haven't heard anything about any changes in the split of the purse. Has either of you?
I haven't.
I haven't.
I mean, it must have been negotiated. That's probably what was keeping it up, the talks going. But, yeah, as far as I know, I mean, I haven't heard anything about any of the split purse. But I would imagine Ward probably is getting a little bit more. Kovalev whether you think he won the first fight or not, he's still slightly the B side. I think we can all agree to that.
Yeah, I think so. Right here, the two sides just absolutely hate each other.
Which will make for an even better second fight. We're not going to go into like predictions. Obviously, the fight's still quite a ways away. But who do you think needs to adjust more? Is it Kovalev that needs to adjust more for Ward, or does Ward need to make more adjustments for Kovalev? I saw Kovalev win the first one. However, I think Ward's more capable of making the changes needed and the style changes needed. However, I've been proven wrong before with Kovalev. So, what is your guys' thoughts on that?
I think Kovalev needs to do make more of the adjustments.
More adjustments.
So we know Ward. Ward. Me, I see it. It's going to be real tough for Kovalev to win this. You know, Ward. Once Ward's seen you for 12 rounds, he knows what. Really don't think that he's going to be able to. That the Kovalev's going to be able to come up with anything to stop Ward. He's going to have to stop.
So you think it's going to look more like Mayweather Madonna 2, where it's just pretty much a schooling?
It could. I mean, at the same time, though, I won't. Kovalev is a gifted offensive fighter. Really is. It's not a simple. He's not just simply a power puncher. Goes for the knockout. He's creative the way he comes up with combinations and everything. He does a lot of old school moves when it comes to, like I said, that straight hand that he throws out of, squares up and throws out a straight left hand. It's almost like a right hand. But I just think that Ward is just, like I said, Ward, having seen Kovalev for 12 rounds, having adjusted in the fight, I just think that he has the advantage.
Yeah, to piggyback off you, Hector, I have to agree. I think the adjustments that Kovalev has to make, and one of the things that I made a point about last time was how surprised I was that Kovalev was having trouble cutting off the ring with Andre Ward. And obviously not taken away from Andre Ward, he's very crafty. But, Hector, as you said, for someone who is a very crafty offensive fighter, I expected Sergey to really be able to cut off the ring and not allow Andre Ward to go into the middle of the ring and be able to box, because that's really where Andre Ward had a lot of the success. He had a lot of success in the middle of the ring using movement and using counterpunching. And I think that's what Kovalev is going to have to do. Kovalev is going to have to adjust to the movement and the slickness that Andre Ward shows. So if he can do that, and he can be aggressive and cut off the ring, Andre Ward, to be honest with you, may have a problem, because we saw that. We saw what happened when Kovalev was getting aggressive and Andre Ward didn't have any space to move. He was in trouble, lots of trouble. But when he did have space to move and when he was using his defensive prowess and being slick, Kovalev didn't know how to cut off the ring and was missing a lot of shots.
Very true. Maybe the hold-up for the Andre Ward talks on his end and on signing, maybe it was for a larger ring.
Hey, listen, Sugar Ray did it against Hagler, so hey, if Ward can do that against Kovalev, all power to him.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. However, I agree with you guys. I think it's definitely Kovalev that needs to make more of a change. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. I mean, he did put Ward down, but as the fight went on, it looked also to me like Kovalev was starting to lose the rounds as far as it went on into the deep water. But I definitely saw still Kovalev win the first fight. Even with that being said, I would probably say Ward has an upper hand going into the second fight. Not just with negotiations, but overall. And just the style matchup, it's going to favor Ward. But I'm definitely happy that news broke today, because it was a long time coming. That fight needed to be signed as of the end of their fight. The first fight happened. But we're going to talk a little bit about this weekend's fights. I know probably everybody's going to end up saying that Lomachenko is going to completely dominate Sosa. And I can't really disagree with them. Hector, Jules, do you guys have? I don't mean this in any bad way. I respect Sosa. I think Sosa's a hell of a fighter, but I think Lomachenko is just a matrix upon itself. Um, he's definitely one of the more elite guys, and it's not just Sosa. I don't think a lot of people can hang with him. I think he proved that against Walters, but is there any chance for Sosa to land anything, or Sosa to show something maybe that he has it in other fights to pull something out of here? Um, any game plan at all that he could use to pull this out?
All right, Jules.
Oh man, Hector, I see why you made me go first because it's tough. Listen, man. I mean, I hate to sound biased. I mean, I like Sosa. I mean, to be honest with you, I thought that he did a really good job against Walters when they fought. Even though it was a draw, Sosa he definitely showed promise. I will say that. But once again, we saw what Lomachenko did to Walters, and it was just no comparison in terms of who is a superior fighter. Do I have Lomachenko losing? Definitely not. But you know what? Listen, man, after Triple G versus Jacobs, I thought Triple G was going to annihilate Jacobs. Not even annihilate, but maybe a late round knockout. And we saw that wasn't the case. So, can Sosa put a valiant effort? Any fighter can. That's one thing about boxing. I mean, we've seen it all the time, right? How many times have we thought a guy was going to get annihilated and he ended up, obviously pulling off an upset or at least showing a valiant effort. My advice to Sosa, though, do not box with Lomachenko. Do not think that you can box and really show that you have the same ring IQ as Lomachenko, because that will be one of the worst mistakes of his life. I feel that his only way of at least, having a shot, and once again, as you said, no disrespect to Sosa, I think he's a very good fighter, but I think he's got to go in there and brawl. I mean, he's got to channel his inner Roberto Duran, and do what he has to do to make it a brawl. If he boxes Lomachenko, oh my gosh, man, he's gonna get painted on like Picasso. It's not gonna be good.
So you agree, Hector? Got to make it kind of uncomfortable and predictable, and just kind of get in there and make it ugly.
Yeah, but I don't know if Sosa is capable of that. The only time we've seen Lomachenko uncomfortable was a well-known, offensive, Salido coming at you at all times, throwing from all angles, hitting you in the balls like nonstop. That's the only time that we've seen Lomachenko uncomfortable. Like you guys have said, Sosa is a good fighter, and if we're talking about anybody else in the division, it's a competitive fight.
Right.
But Lomachenko is a special. What Rob says, I know he's not here. He's a gifted fighter, man. Like his footwork is. There's a reason they compare it to Willie Pep, man. Like, he is unreal. So I don't think he's capable of obviously, like Jules said, to keep up with him boxing. But I also don't think that he's, from what I've seen, that he's capable of just going all out, like Roberto Duran or like Salido, or like I haven't seen that from him. So I just think it's a bad matchup for him, and I think he'll knock him out.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. And Sosa has surprised me in the past, but definitely not against this kind of opposition. I mean, like you said, Lomachenko, he has a little bit of everything. He's great in literally everything. He's fast, he's powerful, great defense, great head movement, great footwork. It's ridiculous. And it's to the point now that I'm going to ask you guys, who can beat Lomachenko, or at least who can give him a good fight? We're talking relative weight class too. I don't want to say hypothetically, Floyd Mayweather or some shit.
Like looking as high as lightweight now. I mean, like,
I'd say that's fair. Maybe one above, one below. That's realistic, I think.
At the weight class, no one.
No.
Maybe eventually Gervonta Davis. Down the line. Right now, I don't see anyone. I don't see Takashi Miura having a shot. Even Michelle having a shot. At lightweight,
Gervonta Davis, no shot there either.
who?
Gervonta Davis.
Oh, Gervonta?
Yeah.
I mean, eventually. That's what I'm saying. Eventually, I could see it, but right now he's still just too green. I think he'll need some time to get some more fights under his belt. At lightweight, I mean, Mikey Garcia.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Mikey.
I mean, and it's still.
The weird thing is to common fans, they're like Lomachenko versus Garcia. They probably don't even really know who either guy really is. But to us, we'd be like foaming at the mouths for that fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I would pay for that fight, pay-per-view. I would truly, if that was a standalone Garcia versus Lomachenko, I would pay for that fight. I know that I would get my money's worth.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no worries, Hector. I was actually thinking, you know what? I feel a fighter who can give Lomachenko a real test would be Rigondeaux. I always said that if I couldn't see Lomachenko versus Garcia, I would love to see Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux. I know you guys are probably like, yeah, that might be boring as hell. And maybe it would be. Maybe it would be a chess match. But because Lomachenko is more, matter of fact, I think you alluded to that when we had a chat about Lomachenko being a little more offensive-minded, than guys like Floyd Mayweather, who's more defensive-minded. I think that because Lomachenko would probably push the pace, we would see how he would do against a guy like Rigondeaux, who's phenomenal defensively and a really good counterpuncher, maybe as good as Floyd. So that will be an interesting fight to see, Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux.
But I agree with that. But it almost seems like at this point, the weight is Rigondeaux still at 122?
I believe so. I don't think he's changed weight. I believe he said he won't change weight.
It almost seems that
no. He said for Lomachenko he would do it.
Oh, okay.
That I remember reading that.
That is like elite fighters at their best. Those are that would be a good style clash.
Santa Cruz come up maybe. Still down?
I don't know. With Lomachenko?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I really don't. I like Santa Cruz. I like what he did with Carl Frampton, but I just don't see it. I don't see him again. Would he try to box Lomachenko?
I don't think so. I think he would try to make it really ugly. And we've seen Santa Cruz can do both. I mean, he can box and he can make it ugly. Even Carl Frampton might be interesting, at least for a little while. He can get in there and bang and make it somewhat unpredictable. So, and that's what you're going to like we were saying. That's what kind of you have to do with Lomachenko.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Lomachenko takes both those guys to school, and I'm going to tell you why. I know what we're saying, because he likes to bang, but I was watching some highlights against Lomachenko, and I hate to sound like I'm on his nuts, right? But I have to give credit where credit's due. When he throws combinations and then he does that sidestep to the other side, to his right, and that shit is a thing of beauty when he does that. And that's going to be their problem. Their problem is that they're going to be trying to brawl. Lomachenko is going to counter. He's going to throw combinations, and by the time they're ready to throw, Lomachenko's going to be already out of the way, throwing from a different angle. I think that I really don't see those guys beating them, especially after seeing the way that they fought. I mean, obviously you guys can agree. Santa Cruz is a good boxer, but he can't outbox Lomachenko. And if he tries to make it a brawl, it's a possibility he gets countered all night. So he's in a lose-lose situation. Both of them are really.
Yeah, I don't think Leo has the feet to fight Lomachenko.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, that's a really good statement. That's what I was thinking of. The feet, his footwork wouldn't be able to keep up with it.
Yeah, because it's nonstop for Lomachenko. It's almost like, prime Manny Pacquiao. He creates the nonstop angle, but it's better, and it doesn't stop. It's like it's nonstop. You have to be on at all times. So yeah. And I mean, we could talk, like Oscar Valdez too. Oscar Valdez has looked really impressive, and he's a weight down. So, but I just don't see it happening. And I think Oscar Valdez, his only loss in amateurs was a Lomachenko, I believe.
That's crazy.
And he's been talking about wanting to get it back, but I mean, it's so early for Valdez too. It's kind of like the Gervonta Davis.
Right. So let's say Lomachenko moves up after this fight with Sosa. Really, from the sound of it, all that's between him and the lightweight division and ruling it is Mikey Garcia. Unless you guys think Linares also has a chance.
I mean, there's undefeated fighters at lightweight. You got Robert Easter Jr. There could be, he would have a significant size advantage. That could play a factor.
Yeah, and his reach advantage as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are fighters at lightweight that they're interesting fights, because you do have a lot of possibilities there. I think, Terry Flanagan, you can kind of toss that to the side. I don't think Terry Flanagan is at the level of top guys at lightweight.
He fights Saturday too, doesn't he?
I
think he faces Peter Petrov.
Oh, that's correct. Yes.
So, I mean, that's an interesting fight, though, Peter Petrov, Terry Flanagan. But, yeah, I mean, I agree. I forgot about Robert Easter. Robert Easter definitely is a interesting matchup for anybody. I mean, long arms, 6 foot or so. And he's got some pop, too, so that would be an interesting fight, too. But it's more of a speaking towards Lomachenko's abilities that we have to kind of dig to find people that he's going to have problems with. And hell, we don't even know if he's going to have problems with them. But looking forward to seeing him fight Sosa, even though we know, it's going to be somewhat of a mismatch, or at least we're pretty sure it is. You almost just have to tune in to see how incredible it's going to be. How big of a one-sided knockout is it? And since we're all going to pick Lomachenko, let's go ahead and say what round he gets to, or if it's going to be, a decision. I don't think Sosa is going to get to a decision. I'm saying mid-round stoppage, probably within 6.
Go ahead, Jules.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the limb. I'm going 12-round decision. Unanimous. Yeah. Definitely unanimous. But I think Sosa makes it to the final bell.
Okay.
I think 7th round tops. And I'll go with 6th round out. I just think Lomachenko is going to be. And I've heard Lomachenko talk. I don't know if you guys saw the Fight Game, the Jim Lampley show on HBO. Lomachenko got interviewed when he won Fighter of the Year, and basically he told his team and his trainers that he expects to knock everybody out going forward. That's what he expects to knock everybody out. So I think he's definitely going to knock out Sosa.
All right, Jules, do you plan on changing that back now? Do you think? Do you think he's going to purposely go? Because I know you were kind of talking about that. Maybe not on air, I can't remember or not, but maybe he might, try to get some rounds in. Do you think that's going to be the case, or is he going for the knockout?
I hate to call fighters bluff, but sometimes I feel like when a fighter says I'm going for a knockout, I'm going to knock everybody out. Sometimes I think it's all talk. I think a lot of fighters, and as a matter of fact, you know what, Lucas, we can go back to Gary Russell Jr.'s interview, where I asked him, particularly, was he going to start, going for knockouts because he had, last two fights were knockouts before the Escandon fight, before the postponement. And, he said, listen, if it comes, it comes, and I think a lot of fighters feel that way. They don't go looking for the knockout. I think a lot of fighters say, if I look for the knockout, I'm going to get knocked out. I think Lomachenko is too smart for a fighter to go look for the knockout, because if that's always on your mind, then I feel you're more prone to making mistakes and being hit more. And I think Lomachenko, I mean, as I said, I'm not saying that he doesn't mean it, but I think it's a different when you're being interviewed and then when you're actually in the ring, and you're saying, you know what, let me just outbox this guy. If the knockout comes, it comes. If not, I'll just get the rounds in. So I'm still going to be, that guy to be bold and say it goes 12. Once again, giving credit to Sosa. I think Sosa's a tough champ, and I don't think he's gonna commit the boxing sin like Walters did and quit. So I still go with the decision.
I think it also goes into once you actually first get hit by that opponent, and then you decide, let me not play with this guy. I'm not trying to get knocked out of here. So. But going forward here, I mean, we had a great article by Syrian, one of our newest writers here at Heavy Bag Boxing. Why don't you go ahead and check it out? Again, it's heavybagboxing.com, talking about cutting weight. And that's actually something I wanted to kind of touch on. Of course, we've seen some new pictures released lately of Chavez Jr., and he's looking good. He's looking on weight. I don't know if we have an exact weight, though. Did they release like a 60 or 30-day weigh-in or anything like that yet? I guess it's not 30 days yet, but
I've just heard that he's on pace to make weight. I don't know what that means.
There's been some discussion of whether he has 10 more pounds to lose, guys. If you were both betting men right now, and you had to put $200 on Chavez making weight or missing weight, where does it go?
Oh, God, it definitely goes missing. I'm not. Are you kidding me? No way. If I had to bet my own money, I'm going with missing weight. Definitely going with missing weight.
Now, hold on. I do know if he doesn't make weight, it's a ridiculous amount of money that he has to pay to Canelo. Like, that is why. And I just think he's going to come in shape for this fight, man. This is the biggest fight of his life. He's gonna make weight. That's what I would put. I don't think he's gonna come in shape.
I mean,
I guess I get what you were saying based on the history.
Go ahead, Actor.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, I get what Jules is saying. Based on the history, then yeah, it'd be dumb to bet on him making weight.
Yeah.
When he couldn't even make like 173, but. Yeah.
But let's flip the script a little bit, because Canelo really isn't known for making weight either. He's just better at changing the weight on the contract.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So, regardless, we don't know if he's going to be able to make weight or not, but let's say this, and I think we can all agree. This is the most focused I think I've seen Chavez Jr. since, Sergio Martinez?
Yeah, and even that, I don't think he was that focused, because we saw from the HBO 24/7 he was in his underwear eating Cocoa Puffs. So we definitely haven't been seeing that for the Canelo fight, and I think I understand why. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I've always had a respect for Sergio Martinez, but I think that Chavez Jr. really understands that if he, gets beat by Canelo, his career is probably over. Not, I can't say over, but him being classified as an elite fighter will probably be over.
His name and his worth is going to take a hit. Everybody has that magical number and that loss that once you hit it, your value as a fighter just decreases. And with the way he's been lately, this might be his last big payday. I think that, especially if he doesn't pull out the win. A lot of people don't think he has a win in him. Like, it's already decided that it's Canelo winning. And Hector, I think you were talking off air, of course, but about how Chavez's power is kind of been over exaggerated. Do you want to kind of talk about that a little bit more? Break it down.
Yeah, I feel like it's been exaggerated over the years. I think he was given a lot of credit for his late fight rally against Martinez, which he did hurt him, almost knocked him out, but you didn't see that the rest of the fight. His big win is against Andy Lee, and he did get a knockout against Andy Lee. But you have to remember, man, like, Chavez came in weighing 183 pounds. Like, and it was the official HBO scale. He weighed in the next day at 183 pounds. Gained 23 pounds. I mean, like, he wore Andy Lee down just with his physical presence. I've always felt that his power, and Canelo too, but lately Canelo's been showing that he does have the power to back up all those muscles that he had. So, yeah, I just, when it comes to Chavez, I understand he's with Nacho Beristain, but I just still think you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to sound cliche, but Chavez is not an elite fighter. He has an incredible chin. He had a great win against Andy Lee, but he has no defense. He has no rhythm. Like, when I've seen him fight, I just don't see it. Like, I don't see this even being a competitive fight. The only thing that I see him having is size, and that's it. I see him having a weight advantage, because I don't see Canelo blowing up the way he has been. I think he's gonna come in a little lighter than usual, and he's gonna have a little bit more movement than he normally does. But I think he's just gonna demolish.
Well, I don't think he's going to have as much room to rehydrate. I mean, he's fighting at a higher weight, so he's going to come in lighter, technically, than, not rehydrate as much, to say that. But I'm glad you said that whole comment about him coming in at 183, because we might just see that. And I don't know, can you guys tell me a time where Canelo didn't outweigh a guy and wasn't the bigger guy in the ring? Because it's hard for me to remember if there even is one.
I think that, well, the Floyd Mayweather fight, but he was contractually, bound to make it, because he had to make 153. I believe 153 or 152. I know that. I remember, because that was a big thing where that was in the contract, where they said that they heard Canelo's team said he can make a weight under than 154, and they were like, okay, so if you can do it, show me. And he had no choice. But yeah, to be honest with you, Lucas, I don't remember, especially now. I mean, my God, he looked, at least 60 pounds bigger than Liam Smith. It was literally like, when I saw them in the weigh-ins, I was like, oh my God, Liam Smith is going to get crushed, literally. And, he did. And I think that's what makes the fight intriguing. And I think,
really,
Hector, you were talking about it. And I believe it was maybe Tim or Rudy. I want to give the right guy the credit, but that's really what makes the fight the intriguing is the size advantage, because they also had a face-to-face with Canelo versus Julio Cesar Chavez, and this is really the first time in a long time where Canelo is not outweighing a guy. But at the same time, I still think that even though, Chavez is the bigger guy, I think Canelo is the bigger puncher, if that makes sense.
I think their punching ability is equal. It's just Canelo has other attributes. He has the speed advantage, obviously the defense, the combination punching, whereas Chavez just is equal to him in power, and that may even be a stretch. But I think Canelo's power is over-exaggerated, too. I mean, you look at fights like Khan. I mean, if you didn't knock him out, we were going to laugh at you. You coming up from fighting a guy who's a welterweight, making him come up to fight for a middleweight title. You needed that knockout, because if you didn't, there would be severe problems. James Kirkland, had been off for a long time, rushes in, gets caught. Plus, he's been chinny in the past. There's not really a surprise there. However, the problem was with Lara. He couldn't get him down. Past his prime, Angulo was able to drop Lara. And then when you talk about Canelo Angulo, Canelo could not get down Angulo either, and Angulo was eating some shots. But that was also a past prime Angulo, whereas James Kirkland was able to put him down and out. So I severely think that Canelo's power is overrated. Yes, he's had a couple of good knockdowns, and even a couple of highlight reel knockouts, like the ones I just mentioned, but again, those are knockouts that were determined to happen. We knew they were knockouts as soon as we heard the fight announced. Everybody was like, well, that one's in a knockout. So I'm not surprised. I think we could end up seeing a upset. I think it is definitely in the cards, but it's unlikely, sure. Chavez's power and his weight and his reach and his height definitely could play some problems. I mean, once you start jumping up in weight, and especially when Canelo's been fighting at what, guys? Nothing over 155, right?
I mean, really nothing over 160.
Has he even fought at the true 160 yet?
No. He's not fought above 55.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, right.
So basically,
I could have swore that, yeah.
He's a junior
I
middleweight.
thought the Liam Smith fight was, man.
That maybe.
I think the Liam Smith was 154.
It was 154?
Oh,
okay.
yeah, it was 154.
Probably. I got to check it.
That was a 154 title he won. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
I remember Liam's team said if he doesn't make weight, then they're not going to fight.
So, guys, he's fighting jumping from 155 to 163, right? That's the catch weight? Or is it 165?
Yeah.
Okay.
164.
164?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, jumping that kind of weight is dangerous for anybody. It is Canelo, yes, and he's fighting technically a guy that should be tailor-made for him. But we've said that before, and these weight classes are not anything to mess with, guys. He may find out the hard way that he can't just jump up and beat people. He may realize the hard way that Chavez did when he went up, tried to face Fonfara, got his ass beat.
That's because he's Chavez, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the way I see this fight, okay? Canelo, yeah, he's not fought at that weight, but he's been fighting competitive, tough fights for the last, 3-4 years? What have we seen from Chavez and Sergio Martinez? 2 fights with Brian Vera, that were just competitive, with Brian Vera. Okay, I'll ask you this. Who did he fight? Who was his last fight against Chavez?
I know it was like an undercard that wasn't even televised, but I couldn't tell you the dude's name.
It was televised on Telemundo. But
as a matter of fact, and he actually didn't even make weight for that fight. I remember
man.
he had to change. They had to change at the last minute. I'll never forget. You're right. Now I remember.
Yeah, and it's just like, this last fight he fought some guy. We don't know, and he fought 10 hard rounds with some unknown guy. It's just. I don't think that the skill level is even close. Like, I understand the weight. Like, you always got to be careful with the weight, but Chavez is not an elite fighter in my mind. I've never seen, like I said, the Andy Lee fight was a surprise. And you're like, that was a good win, but that was it. And Andy Lee to me, has been overrated for a long time.
I think
always
Andy Lee
felt
gets
that.
just about the credit he deserves. At some point he's underrated. At some point he's overrated. It just depends on who's commentating.
I've always felt that Julio Cesar Chavez win, his best win, uh, it was oh my gosh, help me out, guys. Marco Antonio Rubio. That I always felt was his best win. Other than that, I mean, once again, Hector, you said about Andy Lee, but he had a significant size advantage, and once again, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He has the name, and that's really what he's been fighting on. I mean, his maybe his best performance besides the Marco Antonio Rubio and Andy Lee, in terms of an elite fighter, was against Sergio Martinez, and that was just that last round. We saw for 11 rounds. Martinez was just beating him senseless. And I've always said it for a long time. I always felt that Omar Chavez was the better fighter. I've always said, as a matter of fact, if it was possibly Omar Chavez versus Canelo, that might be a huge possibility, for an upset if he were to, obviously, move up in weight. But Julio Cesar Chavez, man, I don't know. I just don't see it. I really do not see him beating Canelo. When Canelo is focused, it's actually scary. What he can be, and I just don't see it. I really see Canelo outboxing him, because that's one thing I have to say about Canelo. He has very underrated boxing skills. He's been working on that over time. I would say maybe after the Floyd Mayweather fight and maybe after his brawls, he's saying, you know what? Let me see if I can use some movement. And he's been doing that very well. So I see Alvarez winning, 12-round decision.
And you're more than likely right. I'm just saying, when you go to mess with the weight like that, you never know. So I'm saying, just keep it open mind.
Well, no, I mean, listen, as I said, I'm going with decision because, Luke, maybe you have a point in terms of Canelo's power. I mean, if you look at their records, Chavez and Canelo, it's pretty comparable. It's really the competition that's no competition, to say that ironically, that Canelo's been fighting the better fighters. But I believe that, like, Canelo has 34 knockouts and Chavez has 32.
Yeah.
So it is comparable in terms of their knockouts.
I mean, and you look at the size of the guys that Canelo's been facing too lately. Look at Liam Smith, Cotto, Khan. I mean, yeah, obviously they're big names. Much smaller guys. I don't think there's a taller guy until you get down to Trout. I believe Trout was taller, but I don't even think by much. I mean, he's definitely...
And Canelo did drop Trout.
Did he stop Trout? I thought that was a decision.
He dropped him. He didn't stop him.
Oh, okay.
But he
I
definitely
thought you said he stopped him. No, yeah, he dropped him with like a jab, too. But it's going to be up in the air. I mean, it's something that we don't... I mean, he might not even wake mate to begin with, and hell, after that, anything's possible, so... guys, anything else you kind of want to touch on? It's about that time.
Joshua's gonna pass again.
Couldn't hear you there, Hector.
I said Joshua's gonna beat Klitschko's ass. That's all I'll say.
That's it's for another show though. We'll definitely do the preview and predictions for that one. Jules, anything else you wanted to touch on for the day?
I was actually thinking, about touching on, and I know it's funny because I was actually thinking about this, earlier today about when we talk about topics. What do you guys think about Charlo facing Triple G? Because the word is that if Charlo, beats his mandatory, he becomes the mandatory for Triple G versus Saunders. So I'm just curious, like, what do you guys think about that fight?
I did hear about that. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm not a huge fan of the Charlos, but they're both very talented, and it'd make for a good fight regardless. I mean, I'm all for seeing GGG in the ring with anybody, so let alone somebody else with some power, some movement. Which Charlo again is it? I get them two confused, man.
It's the.
Is it the power guy or the boxer?
That's the power, because the boxers stay at 155.